All right, welcome to Win the Day live stream, where we talk about how to win the day as real estate salespeople. We're going to talk about a few things today. I'm going to just leave it wide open here, to be honest. Life, remember those commercials? Life comes at you pretty fast. Yeah. When was it the one guy? Was it Kevin Federline? Do I remember these names right? Was married to Britney Spears for about 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. In the commercial went something like he was either working at the drive-up window of a fast food place, and then he met Britney Spears, and then he owned the mansion, or he was living in a mansion, got divorced from Britney Spears, and was now working at a drive-through window. Either way, it works. And he says life comes at you pretty fast, kind of a Ferris Bueller type of thing too, right? But life does. And if you're in real estate sales, you've been doing this longer, in a couple of minutes, things happen. So I want to talk about something going on with that right now. And then I also want to talk real quick about when your plan ain't happening, right? Maybe they're intertwined. When you got a plan, but the results aren't showing up, or you're not sure what to do, you're losing confidence in the future, you're losing confidence in yourself and things like that. We're going to talk about two things. But first, I want to talk about Destiny Powell. She's the one in my upper right of your squares, Hollywood triangles. She went to a new brokerage.
I did.
Congratulations. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was at a Mike Ferry event about 100 years ago. 3,000 people in the room, one of these things. And a gal, he was telling a story. At the break, a lady came up to me and said, Mike, I'm getting divorced. And I said, congratulations. She said, what? Why would you say that? Well, I don't know. Are you divorcing him, or is he divorcing you? I'm divorcing him. Well, congratulations. And it's kind of the same thing here, right? You divorced your last place and you're moving on to greener pastures. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And I'm sure people who listen to this are like, you know what? F them. I'm leaving. Right. If you're like me, that's a 3 times a day type of situation. Even in the best of times. Right. It's just, why leave though? I mean, without specifics, tell us why. Because Julie just said most people don't like to leave. And I agreed. Most people don't like to fire somebody. But when you fire somebody, it's usually because they need to be fired. And it's usually a good thing for you, for them, for everyone. Mm-hmm. So, and that's essentially what happened. Fair to say?
Yeah, it's I don't have a problem being fully transparent. There are certain things that are extremely important to me and my standards, and when those standards aren't met and I don't see that there's going to be a change, it's time to take my business elsewhere and feel that I'm able to grow and thrive in a different environment. I didn't feel that way.
Okay, so rather than focusing on what was, tell me about what will be. Why where you are? What was the, without saying where you went or anything, I don't really care about that, but what is it that you're going to get there or you're looking for?
I just want to work, and that's it. I don't need all the extra parties and outings and politics and drama. I just want to work and be productive. And I want people around me that have that same mindset of getting into productivity and making money and being busy.
So you're stepping into line or jumping on the boat. Somebody handed you an oar and said, let's go.
Yep.
Okay.
This is our vision. We see what you're doing and you match our vision. Let's do it.
I like that. And let's be fair. That's not for everybody. Some people like to get into real estate for the fun, for the parties, for the whatever. God bless them. Mm-hmm. That's not me.
There's a reason why most people gain 20 pounds when they get a realtor, because all the parties and all the food and all the stuff.
And if that's your game, if that's your thing, that's cool, because I know camaraderie, a place where like-minded people can hang out. You have vendors come and give you Chick-fil-A or whatever, all that stuff at lunch. I get that. I can get that. Personally, like we interview for our team and stuff, and we say, hey, if you're looking for friends,
right,
that ain't us, which is cool if that's what you're going for. But if you're hoping that we're going to be friends, I don't even know that. I got a guy on my team, been on our team for 18 years. I couldn't tell you the name of his kids. And, that's probably shame on me, but I can tell you what his production is, where his strengths and weaknesses are, and how to get him to have a be a great dad and a great provider for those kids. I just can't tell you the name of the kids. I couldn't tell you his address. I don't know what his house looks like.
Julie,
So
you're
yeah,
muted. Oh, she's
Julie,
probably-
can't hear you.
I think she's meaning to be muted.
Oh, she
Maybe.
wants
I
to be
don't know.
muted.
So what I was going to say is, why would you say people choose where they go? Choose the team, choose the brokerage, choose the, I know it's different reasons, but it boils down to probably about 5.
Do you know the 5 or are you asking?
Well, I have my own answers, but I'm curious because
All right, Destiny,
obviously
start.
Destiny just moved and she said she got tired of the politics and the drama and she wants to be productive.
Mhm.
So what are you getting at the new brokerage that the old brokerage didn't give you? Because usually you don't just leave. People do get tired of stuff, but you go where you're going to get what you were missing. Right?
Right. I'm going to get, good leadership, I'll say.
Pause. What is good leadership? I don't know what leadership is or good. What is
For
that?
me, it's somebody who's in the trenches with me that's being productive, that's in the game, so they can relate to where I'm at. They can answer my questions. They can support me when I get into a bind. I need to have a leader that's doing the same thing that I am.
A player coach.
Not a large brokerage. There's few agents there, which I appreciate. That's going to give me that one-on-one connection with those leaders, and it's again going to alleviate and remove all the mess.
Yeah, I like your optimism. Or it might just focus the mess. All right, whatever. Keep going. I have a team. We have a lot of mess.
About that, commission splits, a better opportunity to make more money is important to me, and that's something that was presented that I liked. And they're hard workers, and I appreciate that. When I look at their track history and what they've done, they've got heavy hitters that I can learn from and mimic.
Perfect.
I think we become the combined average of the 5 people we associate with. And when you can get rid of some distractions, when you can be around and in that company of a productive environment, I think a lot of times we miss the power of that. And clear vision, clear character, all of that goes a long way.
Absolutely.
What does productive environment mean? Exactly. On a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. What do you mean?
Are you asking me?
Either one of you. Mark, you just said productive environment. So Mark, what is a productive environment?
So I think a productive environment has to do with the conversations that we're having around our business. If our focus is on how are we growing, how are we improving, are we achieving our goals? Do I know your goals? Am I backing behind those goals? Am I holding you accountable to those goals, at least in conversation? Because as John said, your goal, you're being hired as a team leader, not to know the kids, but to know this guy's production to provide for the kids. And when you as a leader know that and have conversations around that draws you into a different level than somebody that's not even aware of that, or an environment that doesn't care about that. That's more involved in how do we have fun things to keep people.
So what's the expectation? Is it a weekly? Is it a daily? Is it like you go in and someone holds you accountable? Is it a meeting? I mean, you have to have some metrics. You have to say, these are my goals and these are my actions. And here's the, coming back to Aaron West and the, 300 times a year, I'm going to do this, 50 times a year, I'm going to do that. Do you have a weekly goal tracker? And who, is that someone at your brokerage that is holding you accountable? Destiny, coming to you, you're switching, you're leaving. They weren't following up with you. They weren't responding to your emails. They weren't responding to your calls. You weren't feeling supported, and you felt like there was drama and politics. And so now you're leaving. And how do you think that the new place is going to be different?
The new place is going to be different because they will hold me accountable. They saw my numbers and they expect that type of performance, if not more. We sat down and met and they said, what do you want to do? I presented them my numbers that Mark and I had already gone over, and they said, okay, we're going to double that. And I appreciated that. they said, we're going to set you up with an accountant for when you make this certain amount. So that way your finances are in order. And I love that they said when and not if, because they believe in me already enough based on my track record to say, you're going to make this much easy. We need to make sure you're set up the proper way moving forward. Again, I'm going to get that closer attention because it's a smaller group. I appreciate that. But, going into this, I know they're not coaches. They'll be there to help me. And they told me, Destiny, if you have a question, always ask me. Don't ever not ask. We're not going to let you drown. But I understand that they are not my coaches. They're just brokers. And, it's important to have a coach and somebody that I can hold me accountable, but that's not who they are.
So they're going to connect you with an accountant when you reach a certain number, or you have an appointment with someone who's going to say, here's what you need to do to set you up. And here's the day and the time. We're going to do this on 1/28 at 10 a.m.
No, not yet. We haven't gotten there yet.
Let me do this. So was it easy for you to change?
No.
You put some time and thought into it, right? It wasn't a reaction.
Into it. It was grueling. It was a lot of prayer and just waiting for that nudge to say, now is the time. Okay.
So if somebody's watching this and they're on the fence or trying to decide, I mean, again, I've quit my team, this brokerage, and my wife, my kids, everything, right? Matter of fact, I changed football teams. I like whatever all the time, or I threaten to. I rarely do anything, right? I'm a big talker and very little. I'm very loyal and I stick to it, but I threaten every day. Damn it, that's it. I'm out of here. And then I do this pirouette and get right back to my desk and go right back to it. But for somebody who's thinking about it, considering it legitimately, what advice would you give them?
I would give them the same advice that I gave, when somebody asked me about joining a team. What type of agent do you want to be? Or do you want to be that agent that's good with just 3 transactions a year? Or do you need 30 transactions a year? What type of income are you wanting to produce? I think that plays a huge factor in where you hang your license. And then, think about, are the commission splits affordable to me? That's important. What's the leadership like? What is the leader doing right now? Are they even being productive? That's
so here, I'll give you an analogy that I know. Maybe you guys can appreciate it. So in sports, let's just say football, let's say any sport. All right. You might be really, really good quarterback throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. If you get drafted by a team that wants to run the ball, that's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. That's going to be hard, right? Or if you're a basketball player and you're a really good shooter and you get drafted by a team that likes to play defense, that's going to be hard.
You can't talk sports to me, John. That's Spanish to me.
But whatever, right? If you're a singer, right, and you like to sing pop songs, and you join a band and they want to do country, that's gonna be a problem, right? My point is, you want to make sure you align yourself with people that are going to go where you want to go. Mm-hmm. Kind of in the way you want to do it. Make sure they're ahead of you. Make sure they can provide for you. Do not move for change's sake. Be very, very careful. Absolutely. Right? Very, very careful. Because it's a pain. And when you start seeing people hopping around, personally, I lose a lot of respect for them. Whatever. You've
got to plan you've got to have your vision. Mm-hmm. You've got to come back to your goals. You've got to say, why am I doing this? And is this change going to get me closer to my goals? And specifically how and what? What are they going to do to help me achieve my goals on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis? What are they doing? How many appointments do I have with them? How much additional leadership? Because promises are one thing. Mm-hmm. What am I actually getting? I mean, so like with commission splits, I would say to people, when you're looking at commission splits, when you go to 100% brokerage, but you're out there floundering by yourself on a high wire with no net, okay, you get 100%, but now you can't get anything done. Or you go to a team where you're surrounded by productive people who are pouring into you every single day, and you're getting a 50% split, but all you're doing is generating leads and writing contracts, and somebody else is doing everything else for you, all your marketing, all your transaction coordination, all your support, and now your production triples. Do you want the 100% or the 50-50,
Let me do this. We're coming up on 15 minutes. One thing I would encourage, if you're thinking about moving, if you're thinking about saying, if you're thinking about any of that stuff, I would really encourage, and just across the board, get people, they're called a kitchen cabinet, right? Like the president has a cabinet. Get your own kitchen cabinet. This is 1, 2, 3 people that you respect and trust their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maybe a relative, maybe somebody or whatever, but make sure you talk to somebody who can be honest with you and say, you know what, you're getting screwed, go. You know what, you're unhappy, go. You know what, you're acting like a kid, stay, grow up, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You need somebody who can be honest with you. So, and that's stay or go, how you operate your business. Should I do this? Should I do that? Get a kitchen cabinet. All right.
And I'm going to speak into this in that I was Destiny's team leader. She was a part of my team. And
for God's sake, now we know.
But in that conversation, Destiny was ready to spread her wings, wanted to go that route of solo. And look, I've led teams enough to know that there's moving and there's transitions and people are ready to spread their wings. So we talked through that, evaluated those things, and those are important. And so who you're in business with matters. Yep. And walking through those things. Now there's a lot of unknowns. Destiny's actually I'm going to help her find that right coach that works with her through those things. But I think she's going into business with some really good people. Some that
Destiny made her decision. She's going. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll be great.
Tell you the people that are considering.
And just to say this, there is no shade to where I left. I learned so much, and there are a circle of people that, I believe in and that I know believe in me. This is not on bad terms. It was just time.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's move on. Here's also I want to talk about, because I know we're at the 3rd week of January. There's 1 week left. The gym's already wide open. You can get on whatever you want to get on. Everything's good. But dreams are starting to crack already. I can see it. Folks are stuck. They're not sure how to start, where to start. And here's the key. You got to start. So here, let me just tell you, if you're in real estate sales, figure out a neighborhood or neighborhoods you want to dominate. Okay. We've talked about this before, but sometimes you got to hear it over and over and over again. Figure out where you want to dominate. Okay. Go to the tax rolls, download all the owners in that neighborhood. Okay. That's your database or the beginning of, that's your start. Database is somebody who you know, like, and trust, whatever, all this stuff, whatever. But get the tax rolls of all the owners in that world. Go preview every open house that's out there. You need to know the current market, what the product looks like, feels like, smells like, the impact it has on you when you walk in, curb appeal, all that stuff. All right. You can do that. Start studying the market trends. All right. Last 6 months, sales, last 5 years, last 20 years or 15 years, last 30 years, some number of years. You need to know the history, past history, sales, days on market, number of listings sold. You got to know that stuff. So now if you've been inside the properties that are currently listed for sale, you know the state of play today. If you know the stats and the history, you know the stats and the history. That's very good. And you know the owners. Now use a service, get a phone book, do whatever you have to get the names of the people that own and live there or whatever, and start reaching out to them. You're going to get through to some. You won't get through to all of them, the way it is, right? But you'll get through to some. And it's a simple conversation. Do it around just listed, just sold. Hey, we just sold. Or did you see the house down the street? Just sold. 1234 Main Street, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,800 square feet, sold for $610,000. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I know when one sales come more getting ready to come on the market, just curious, when do you plan on moving? Oh, that's interesting. If you were to sell, where would you go next? When would that be? Boom. You know everything you need to know right there. Help the ones that need right now help. Put the ones that need future help into a follow-up file. Put the ones that are in real estate already, know somebody or will never use you for whatever reason somewhere else. And there you go. Start there. It's only a start. It's not where you begin. It's not where you stay. And it's where you begin. It's not where you stay. It's not where you end. That is the start. But if you start there, you'll create some momentum. It'll put you in the marketplace where you want to be. And that is always a good thing. Then you get in the open houses. Then you get in social media. You get into all that stuff. But the takeaway, figure out where you're going to be, the neighborhood, the market, whatever you want to be in. Find the owners, get them from the tax rolls. Be very careful about the do not call list. I'm not telling you to go call somebody and do something that you shouldn't be doing, but there's plenty of people that aren't on that. Again, they're not going to be everybody, but they're going to be enough for you to start to create that momentum. Okay. Julie, you got anything on that? I know you don't.
I would say, for people who are trying to educate themselves on the market and you don't have buyers, figure out all the tours, the realtor tours that title companies and lenders organize. Just draw a circle around yourself, call all the title companies and the lenders and say, do you guys offer a tour? Or just find out from your local board where all the tours, or your company. Go on all the tours, because you're going to get through a lot of properties fast, and you've got to get educated on what's out there. The other thing I would say, you're going to have a better idea of what buyers are looking at, what's overpriced, what's junky, whatever. The other thing is on the different social media forums and in your office, offer to every productive realtor to be a showing agent.
Both of them?
Yeah, exactly. To be a showing agent, because the more that you get to show properties, the more educated you get about everything. And you're doing it interactively. If you don't have your own buyers, if you have a buyer that wants to see 100 properties, most realtors are like, oh my God. And no one ever says, I want to see 100 properties at once. But, little by little, you work up to that over 4, 5, 6 weeks. But what you'll discover, don't complain about it. Say, this is a blessing. I'm so thankful for this, because there's no way I would have gotten into these $100 million homes if I didn't have this buyer. And now I know the difference between Greyhawk and DC Ranch and McDowell. And, so find a way to represent buyers, even if it's someone else's buyer, as a showing agent, or go on tours so you can educate yourself about the market. The more knowledgeable you are, your confidence grows. And now you're going to be more helpful to buyers and more attractive because you have knowledge.
Important stuff. Mark, what do you got on that?
Yeah, and I think talk to people. Sunday, I was out and about and met an 82-year-old broker. We sat and talked a little bit, and he told me about how a hospital.
I heard this song. It's number 20 on the hot country hit.
Yeah, we went skydiving, Fu Manchu Bowl, everything. No, but he knew an area, and he said, look, there's going to be a 20 bed hospital that's going in up in Defuniak, right across from the Best Western, and this is the time. And just listening and asking questions.
Have your antenna up, right? Or is there two?
Yeah,
or one,
and it's like, boy, that's great news. And I think a lot of times it's in the conversations that we find this out, not just in the stats. So
perfect.
Good stuff.
Perfect. Destiny, I'm excited about your future.
Thank you.
Give us some wisdom here on your current or future or somebody else's future.
Honestly, kind of to piggyback off what Mark said, have those conversations, but also don't be afraid to be a little more involved with your clients. I went on a listing appointment this weekend, and she's an elderly woman in her 80s, her and her husband. She invited me to her birthday party. There's snowbirds.
You might want to set her up with Mark's guy.
Hey,
seems like a match made in heaven.
There's snowbirds, and so they're in the condo biz, looking into purchasing a new condo as well. But just imagine the environment I get to now be in by going to this 80-year-old birthday party. They've got snowbird friends that they're inviting. So guess what? I'm going to market myself while I'm there. So don't be afraid to have those conversations, but just get a little more involved with the clients that you're working with. It can be fun.
Love it. Okay, here to wrap things up then. Don't change for change's sake, but be willing to change if it puts you in a better position. Make sure you talk to enough people, though. You don't want to react. This is an action step, not a reaction step. So be careful in that. And if you do, go all in, 110%. Here I come. Look out, world. Here I come. All right. If you're kind of spinning a little bit in your current business and you just need to start, Do not hang out with other people talking about how bad it is. Don't do it. Get in action. Go figure out where you want to work. Go preview the neighborhoods, everything for sale. Learn and study the MLS. Download the owners and the tax rolls. Start reaching out to them. Go on the tours. Talk to anybody who's doing anything in that world. Make yourself move, because once you start moving, stuff happens. You start running into 80-year-olds. You end up at a birthday party at 2 in the afternoon, and we're all in bed by 3:30. All right, let's go to work. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.